Hello, it is April 23rd, 2026, and welcome to episode 128 of the Driving Forward podcast. Whether you're joining us live or listening on one of our 18 platforms, including Reach Across America Radio, where we broadcast every Tuesday evening from 4 to 5 p.m. Central Time, we appreciate your support. I was at the National Tank Truck Carriers annual conference this week with several hundred other trucking leaders, some freight tech folk, and consultants. And once again, Derek Bars was present and spoke. So it's a great event, generally speaking. Lots of good discussions with customers, with various leadership in the industry. It was my first time attending, and that one's going much higher on the list for next year. So I'll certainly be there. I think we'll actually sponsor the event as well. But just some great people and kind of a different event overall. The ratio of carriers to vendors is very good, and had a lot of meaningful conversations and got to speak with a lot of people as usual. It was in downtown Baltimore, and I was expecting that to be a little bit warmer, but I froze my butt off. So I'm so glad I took I wasn't going to bring a jacket, but I did, and I'm so glad that I did. So great week this week. It was great seeing everybody. I can't even name the names. Spent some extra time with Mike Solars on our team and Rocco Morari from Pedigree and Jason Douglas from PCS. We put in our reps. Also Shane with EBE spent some time with the EBE folks as well. So coming up, we have a bunch of things on the events. So this takes us through July, and there's a few things that are missing that kind of came in last minute that I'll talk about. So next week, Robert Bain's going to be at Broker Carrier Summit. We do have a thing for that, but ultimately I think Bain's actually talking on a panel too. So he'll be on a panel run by MS Fuel Card. Following that, we have a hole we're sponsoring for Big Rigs for Little Kids. That's in Tennessee. Mid-year management session, we'll have Susan Mayo and Missy Hetland at. Missy's part of the ATA lead group, and excited to have participation in that. So Samsara Beyond, myself, and Mike Solars. That's going to be at Aria in Las Vegas. So interesting one. In between there, I think we have a Revanova conference that we just knitted up here. So we are just knitting up. We also have, if you continue on down through this list, the Minnesota Trucking Association's capping off the end of July. So lots of events through the end of July. And I don't even really want to look at the back half of the year. We're extremely busy. So lots of events, lots of great discussions coming up at all of these sessions. All right, today's guest is not just a truck driver. He's a man who's lived this all in a very real way. Chris Thomas is an owner-operator with Autumn Transport, a driver with more than 2 million accident-free miles, and over 20 years on the road. He's also somebody that's earned the right to speak on what trucking really feels like when the cameras are off and the miles get long. I'm also happy that over the last 3 years, I've been able to call Chris a friend. We at a lot of events that Chris attends that really other drivers should consider attending. I've been able to spend not only time with Chris, but his lovely wife Miranda as well. Publicly, Chris has talked about loving the people and the places trucking has given him or taken him, and about how Autumn Transports has given him the freedom to focus on work and only one truck with one load and one customer at a time. This conversation is bigger than the miles and the fuel prices or the parking shortages. It's about the weight that drivers carry the that most people never see. It's about the pressure, the loneliness, the pride, and the sacrifice. Chris has built a voice that reaches far beyond the cab of a truck because people can tell when someone's telling the truth. And today, we're sitting down with this man who's not only just survived the road, but has become part of what it means. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, Nate. Good to see you, my friend.
Same with you, sir. Same with you. Always good to have you on. So how have you been? I mean, it hasn't been that long since I've seen you, but how have you been doing? It's been a while since you've been on the show. So
Yeah, so uh, for the last year, I've been doing the Jamie Hagan version of Maconomics. You know, so I bought one of
fair enough.
Jamie's trucks, used one, and put a little over 106,000 miles on it since June 1st of last year. So I
Not
guess you could
horrible.
say I've been trucking.
Yeah. Well, you've been using that "Let's Go Trucking" thing right lately, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Let's go trucking.
yeah, absolutely. So I was thinking about that because you had bought the truck. When was it? April of last year? Or was it early? It was February. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the purchase was finalized near the end of April last year, and then I think the first week of May went up and got it moved over to a shop for a blower install. Had that done at Republic Pneumatics in Indiana, there just north of Louisville. I was there for a couple of weeks. Got all that done, and I think the first week was actually probably Memorial Day, right after Memorial Day when I got it out of the shop and got running with it.
I remember talking to you. I think it was Broker Carrier Summit in Indy is when you showed up with it.
Yeah,
Some
yeah, I
people
did.
thought I didn't get a chance, but yeah. So now I knew there was some show. I couldn't remember if it was Manifest or BCS, but so fair enough. So really operating it since June. The truck before that was really a home for a decade or over a decade, right?
Yeah, 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years. And it's still out there running. I sold it in September of last year.
Okay.
Sold it to a guy I knew, met on online, and he's got it leased over at Landstar, and doing, doing pretty good with it. He seems to enjoy it.
So he's running it over the road then too.
Yep, he's running over the road. He's had it coast to coast already. It's amazing.
That's great. Yeah, so she's still out there running, doing its thing, and that was an what kind of truck was it again? That was FLD.
Yeah, that was a 2000 Freightliner FLD 132, the Classic XL. So it
Fair enough.
was,
So
I put myself, I think I put 1.4 million on it, and it had 1.3 million when I bought it.
yeah,
So overall 2.7 million miles when he bought it, and he's already, I would say he'll have 100,000 in on it probably by the summer.
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we had lots of conversations, via text or even phone calls about this decision to flip to the truck, the newer
Yeah.
truck. A year into it, what's your thoughts?
It is. It's been a little bit of a learning curve. Probably the difference in driving it was real about. I think I've finally figured out I didn't have a clutch about a month after owning it. The first week, I swear every stop sign. It's a fully automatic truck, right? Versus the stick and the clutch and all that. So 20 years of shifting and clutching, and then now you pull up to a stop sign. It's like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I don't do anything. The truck does it all.
Yeah,
So that's kind of relearning some of that stuff and relearning the trust of the equipment. That it knows what it's going to do and shifting and stuff like that. And you know, uh, I spent most of my time last year running between North Carolina and Indiana on a dedicated lane. So it's empty going from Indiana back to North Carolina, and then I was 79,000 pounds coming out of North Carolina, going back up to Indiana through West Virginia and stuff. And I was able to maintain a 8 mile per gallon average with one of the worst aerodynamic trucks in the in the vocabulary. So, as far as the trailer equipment, the pneumatic bulk is just a brick. It's
Right.
sailboat. It
Yep.
catches every bit of the wind. So I think pretty good. It's been a pretty good year with it. I've had a few maintenance issues that have come up and got in and out pretty quick with that, which was something that was becoming more of a problem with the older equipment. The older equipment's great, but if you were like, you know, my example was in Alberta. If you're in Alberta, I just lucked out and then got a fuel pump out there, used one, because nobody had one, and nobody even knew
Sure.
what an M14 was some of the shops. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the conversations we were having is how long are you going to keep wrenching on it? It's getting expensive, and
Yeah,
then fuel mileage. So those have been um, two successes. Then is what I'm hearing.
yeah, yeah. Solid 2 mile per gallon increase, and obviously that's really fantastic at the current time. Uh, you know,
Absolutely. I'll sit here and do the math on that one. Or have you already done the math? What's your savings on that?
Oh yeah. So if the current fuel prices stay, I mean, you're probably 20,000 a year,
Sure.
maybe more
Yeah. Uh, I mean,
with current fuel prices.
106,000. You said 106,000 you've done?
106,000 versus, let's say, versus 5.9 miles per gallon average to an 8 mile per gallon average.
Yeah. So that's pretty significant. So
Yeah.
$26,000 is at
Yeah.
8 miles a gallon, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it doesn't matter what the fuel price is, just the difference of the fuel at $2
Yeah.
higher or buck.
Yeah.
It's about $2 higher, I suppose. So, well,
So
that's a big thing. That's right into the pocket.
yeah,
So
and it's a comfortable truck to drive. I mean, it is. I had a little bit of setback. I tried to put an air kit on it. We're getting that lined out today. That's why I'm in the shop today. Uh, I added a little bit extra comfort to the steer axle with a aftermarket air ride kit
sure.
to because our
Are you
roads
gonna
are
be
just
able to open
great.
it up and drop it down too? Or are you gonna be you're not
I'm gonna start out simple with just a static system, and we'll see
okay?
how it goes. But if we can get to it, and I can recreate some of those videos from my childhood in the '90s of the Mack truck bouncing up and down,
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Hey George, I appreciate you listening in here. So thanks for dialing in. So that's great. I mean, the $26,000, that's a huge chunk of that payment, if not the payment. I mean, I don't know
It's
what your payment
it's
is, but
it's it's the payment.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
more. It's
I
a little
mean,
bit more than the payment at the current fuel
fair
prices. Yeah,
enough. But even at
yeah,
that, you add, so it's sort of a no brainer. The stuff that you and I were talking about, that if everything worked right, it should come out good. Ended up pretty much happening.
yeah.
Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
numbers looked really good. Even though I was down gross revenue last year, uh, my net was right there, like
Good,
really close
good,
to same.
cool, excellent. Well, that's good to hear. So 2 million miles now on the road, accident free, correct?
Probably touching 2.3 at this point. Yeah.
Okay. So when other people hear that numbers, they think one thing, but what do you kind of feel when you say that? What goes through your mind?
It's went by so fast. 21 years has just went by fast. Trucking. I mean, it's what.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know how we. I mean, you're younger than I am, but I don't know how I got this old. So
yeah. Yeah, everybody's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'll be 44 this year." And like, they're like, "You don't look that old." I was like, "Well, some days I feel it, but
yeah,
it's but no, it's mindset. It's 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 knowing that a lot of days I don't think that I want to do 21 more years in a truck, but I've enjoyed the heck out of what I'm doing. I like it right now. I'm still having fun. Um, I'd like to if it's meant to be, I'd like to come back on 4.2 million miles and say, well,
sure.
that was a breeze.
Another 20 years though, so that's
Yeah,
a little less than that. But hey, as long as you have the option to do what you want to do.
yeah,
So 20 years on the road, over 20 years on the road. What would you say that trucking gave you that you wouldn't have found anywhere else?
The ability to have a pretty good income living in Eastern Kentucky. That's where I grew up at without having a college degree,
Living on the ridge, right?
living on the ridge.
Fair enough.
I mean, as a trucker, a trucking owner, I make more than my wife with a master's degree. She's a teacher, uh, and it's not a bragging thing, but it is. It makes life. It's given me, the ability to give my family and my kids things that a lot of people can't do with what is available as far as work and jobs go. Um, and that's a lot of that's kind of where the sacrifice, that's the trade-off of not being home, is being able to give that better quality of life, and
Yeah,
that's really what it boils down to.
sure. No, I mean that's why a lot of people do it. And the over the road side, a
Yep.
lot of guys go over the road, then they come local, and a lot of those guys go back to the road. So they don't like the crazy of the local, and but you can still make great money on the road if you find a good company.
Yeah, I agree.
So on the flip side of that, and you mentioned a little bit of this, but on the flip side of that, um, what has this life over the last 20 years kind of quietly taken from you that most people don't really see and understand?
There's a lot of we've been, it's but you have to. This is like a growth thing where if you talk to Miranda, she'd tell you the same thing. It's just like I'm not there. You
Yeah,
know, when things really hit the fan, I might be 1,000 miles away, 1,500 miles away. I just can't drop everything and come in. It's so you always have that in the back of your mind. So, over time we've got really good at being independent, right? So, and every time I come home, it's still, if I'm home for a long time, it's a dance. Like we have to figure out. She's got her routine, I've got my routine, and I'm trying not to mess up her routine. But at the same time, that's it's kind of that right there. You develop two different personalities in a way. You develop your road personality and you develop a home personality. That's what I'd like to call it. It's a little bit different. Like you're the same person, but you know, uh, you're used to doing things your way, and when you get home, you have to kind of adopt to or adapt to how your spouse is doing it. So that's one thing, and then not being there for every game and all that stuff for the kids and stuff.
yeah,
The boys grew up fast. I mean, our oldest Jake, and the older, they're he's a Marine. And
right.
I remember him being up on the hood of my Western Star, him and his brother at 4 and 3 years old, just it was there. It was just seems like yesterday.
Yeah,
So it's a time warp.
it absolutely is. I can still remember, I don't have little ones anymore, but when they were little, riding on a forklift, which now everybody freak out about, but putting them up in the truck in the sleeper, taking them for a ride, whatever. The last time I really drove for a living, um, they were young enough where I was the back then I was a company driver, and you couldn't take a little kid out on the road like that as a company driver. So, but you'd spin them around the block or whatnot, and they'll still talk about that today.
Yeah.
Um, the blue truck, the white truck, whatever. That it's kind of crazy to think that time has gone by as fast as it has. So I get it. Yeah, I mean, when we were at Matt's, Miranda said you were out for like 6 weeks. So, I mean, that can happen, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can be off for a long time, and I think so. That was kind of a result of just the market, right? This winter was the first for us. I felt like it was the first normal winter in a while. And freight was good, but it was one of those things where you kind of had to stay after it. Um, so generally, I try to make a lot going into the summer because we typically take family vacation, and that's taking the truck off for 3 months, and then all the unexpected expenses that pop up along the way. So it's always trying to plan ahead and plan for this and plan for that and being the best prepared. So that's kind of the drive behind being out so much this year. But I feel like I made up for it the last month since Matt's. I've been home every weekend. This might be the
Good.
first weekend I've been out in over a month now. So
I've been,
it comes and goes.
yeah, I watch in. I mean, I've been seeing all the posts and whatnot, so I figured you were home, but I always make the post on the ridge. So, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
So
really a magical place.
well, I need to get there sometime. I mean, I need to put a pin on a map so I know where you are exactly.
We're getting ready to get in. We're getting ready to get into the empty nester syndrome here. We're soon ready to have. I feel like two out of the house. So we're talking about changing out the floors and doing all the things that you do as you're an aging couple. You're making the house look nice,
Sure,
not a lived in house anymore.
not
Now it's a
bulletproof.
now
Yeah,
it's a museum.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now I get that. I'm kind of sort of in those thoughts right now. But here's a question from Missy. What do you think helped you stay accident free for 2 million miles?
Patience. I think patience is a lacking skill. A lot of people don't have a lot of patience. So just doing everything the right way. I often think about the first week, and what's really helped me, and not just truck driving school. Like truck driving school is great. I went through Schneider. I thought Schneider was an excellent program for training drivers. um, you know, the driver trainer, it's teaching the class. One of the first things I remember saying day number one is like, when you're in a wreck, doesn't matter if it's your fault or not. All eyes are on you because you are the
Right.
professional trained to drive. That seems to be lost. I don't know if they're still. I'm sure that they're still teaching that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem to exist as much as it used to. The Every day I drive, everybody's on their phone, everybody's tailgating, everybody's making quick changes, they're speeding, they're pushing hard. And that's why we have so many wrecks.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. I think distracted driving is probably the number one reason we're having so many wrecks.
Uh, Absolutely that, and I think you're forced to drive now when you didn't have to drive before. So
Yeah. You've got companies who really micromanage their drivers' time. So I can tell you right now that the split sleeper berth is great if you're actually getting the rest during those break periods. The problem is, in my opinion, they're using this split sleeper berth, loading at the dock. So I can tell you right now, you don't sleep good when a forklift's going
no,
on and off your trailer.
no
You
way.
just don't. You don't.
Right, right.
So you're not getting proper rest. And that really shows. I really think that fatigue shows up when I go into these truck stops, and the drivers just look dragging out. They're just dragged out. They're tired. Um, I think that shows up. I think that shows up a lot.
No, it absolutely does. I mean, I look back at the numbers, and they say they can't prove that this was the case, but there's some things that happened within the industry in that period of time where late 2000s our accidents were dropping. So and then
Yeah,
early teens they start climbing, and they don't really get any better. So we if anything they've gotten worse. So and the things we've done to try to optimize the industry from a compliance standpoint, have to lead to some of those things. So
yeah,
it also includes the fact that guys who used to run don't want to run anymore. Some of the
yeah,
guys flat out have left the road. So no doubt about that.
yeah. There's definitely the typical churn within the industry, and it's a whole mess there of things you could get into, and reasons of why. But for me, patience is a lot of it. I drive the old school way. I always leave myself a gap. I use the Smith system. Um, but beyond that, like I was an EMT and a firefighter before I got in trucking. So policy, procedure, safety, training, looking outside the box, looking at your environment. Situational awareness was just drilled into me already. So I think that had a lot to do with it. Why I've been so successful, why I've stayed out of accidents a lot. And I think, I know what an accident looks like up close and personal. I know what a fatality looks like
Right.
up close and personal. And it's nothing that I ever want to be involved in a truck. And I think, that's everybody should go out and drive with that in mind. Your key be your main focus is driving that equipment safely and getting the load there. So at the end of the day, that's how it is. And if you drive slower, you're a lot less stressed. It's just so many benefits to being safe and slow.
Drive slower, be aware. I mean, that Smith system, I had I wanted to make sure I rattled them off right, but it's really a 5-point system. I used to talk about this system. It's been around forever. So it was
Yeah.
drilled into my head when I got my Class A. But it's aim high in steering, get the big picture, keep your eyes moving, leave yourself an out, and make sure they see you. And the ones that keep your eyes moving, that's one. Get the big picture. Lots of times it's slowing down, let everything happen around you, not you cause everything to happen around you. And making sure they see you, sometimes that's lots of times lights on for safety, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, sometimes, yeah, you got to overstep and make sure people see you. So,
Yeah.
but absolutely. And the leaving yourself you're out thing, though, there's no reason to be doing 90, 80 miles an hour, number one, for fuel, but
Right.
for other reasons, that's going to cause your reaction time is so much slower than when you're moving with the flow of traffic or a little slower.
Yep.
So fuel's been going crazy. We kind of talked about your fuel mileage, and you're in a different scenario now than what you were last year. But fuels up, costs generally are up, pressure's up. How is that causing you to make different decisions that the general public doesn't think about?
I think the thing is I was already making a lot of these decisions when fuel was $2.40 a gallon over the winter, with our discount. I think I made a post about it earlier today. Like, when we were making money then, when freight, and now, that amplifies. Um, I think the biggest concerns that I think about every day, and everybody should be thinking about, is I think about these fuel prices staying high, elevated throughout the summer. Right? What does that mean overall? Because you're out here every day and you're looking at all this construction, you're looking at all this equipment, and you know that everybody's cost is up now.
Right.
So that hopefully it gets under control soon. But at the same time, I walk around the truck stop and everybody's idling. It's 58
Right.
degrees outside. There's no reason to be idling the truck, but half the parking lot's sitting there idling those trucks.
You
amazing.
walked out of one of the videos you took the other day. You were walking out in the morning.
Yeah.
And that was what I actually noticed on that video, was all the trucks just banging away. And
that was a nice morning. It was like 55 degrees that morning.
I mean, most trucks these days have APUs too. So that's what I was kind of, and APU revolution was like 2006 to 2010. It's really where people started questioning whether or not they should put them on a truck. On the larger fleet side, everybody's got them now. So I was kind of surprised. It's been a while since I've spent a night in it, which we talked about that. I should come out for a run with you sometime, but it's been a while since I've been on the road. So that surprised me that everybody's still banging away at a gallon an hour. So
it's endlessly amazing to me what people will gripe about when they're spending money.
Right.
Or they're not making enough money, but then they're out there like doing that stuff right there. I think the math on it's a no brainer. I mean, most APUs pay for themselves within a year.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially
absolutely.
if you're running 200 to 300 nights a year out on the road. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, just simple math at $5 a gallon is $40 to sit there while you're. I mean, 10 hours, $50. So
Oh yeah.
spending $250 a week or more on fuel just to idle while you're sleeping, and you're probably idling times above and beyond that too. So,
And then the newer trucks, I mean, it's a disaster for the newer trucks. They're not meant to be idle.
yeah, yeah. Well, with regens and everything,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, all right, hey, we're coming up on we're at our 30-minute mark. I'll get ready. So we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll continue on talking about just life on the road.
If your fleet's downtime looks like chaos, you're missing out on GLCS. In the time-critical world of trucking and logistics, every minute counts. Meet GLCS, your expert partner in managed IT and technology services. We integrate seamlessly with your team, bringing seasoned IT professionals with deep trucking and logistics expertise. Imagine your software updates running smoothly, complex issues resolved quickly, and operations humming with efficiency. GLCS has your back. Our support doesn't just fix problems, it prevents them with our industry connections and proactive approach. We keep your trucks rolling and your brokers working. Think of us as the added resource your company needs to unleash its full potential. Visit glcs.net today and keep your business driving forward. GLCS, where efficiency meets expertise.
And we're back. Hey, one thing I was thinking about is, and I didn't say this, you've been on a few times before, mostly on saying hi, a couple of things you and Evan Shelley had dialed in one time, and when he was riding with you. But you were actually my first guest on.
Yeah.
I did one episode before, and then we met at Freight Waves Future Supply or F3, whatever the hell that stands for. I can't remember.
The future of freight.
Future of Freight Festival. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we met there a number of years ago, and then that was right when we were kicking this off, and so you were the first one. And what's my bad? I should have went back and grabbed a clip because you
fall
were
of 2023. That's when that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I should have went back and grabbed a clip from that because I look back at how I spoke back then comparative to now, and I was a mess. So compared to what way things go. So I look back. That was 100 and what did I say? 128 episodes ago of this podcast. Not to mention I had quite a few that we did on another podcast at that time. So
isn't it fun to know that you can still learn things and still get better at things?
Absolutely. And that's actually one of the reasons I did this podcast. It had nothing to do with building out a following or marketing or anything like that. It was purely to become a better speaker. That was my sole purpose at first for this podcast. So obviously there's ancillary, but it's accomplished that. So I think I do a little better than what I did back then. And like we were talking before, you feel, even though 128 episodes in, you feel like you're just figuring it out now.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And you've been on a lot of, over the last 2.5, 3 years, you've been on a million different things. So
it's like I've lost track of it, to be honest with you. How many I turned down quite a bit last year. I getting on that dedicated lane, my weeks just become so busy. I was a really slog trying to get 2,800 miles in 5 days, and with loading and unloading and traffic and everything. So it was a very busy schedule. So I didn't feel like I had enough time to devote to doing anything else like that. And since about December, that lane's kind of slowed down. I've been back over the road. Over the road's just a lot easier pace of life, in my opinion. It's just I don't really have a job. I have a professional touring gig where I vacation all the time. That's what I do, um, and it's great. I mean, I get time to talk and stuff like that, and time to do exercise, time to exercise and stuff like that. So it's been pretty nice, getting back over this. But I probably will go back dedicated at some point. I got really used to being home on the weekends. That was
Yeah,
nice.
that's always a nice thing, and you can't. I mean, you can't knock it. So that's it's a lot of extra work. I mean, anything other than the over the road is a lifestyle. It's sort of like the modern day cowboy, really. But then you structure in the dedicated, and you got to work when you don't want to work, and you got to kind of push yourself a particular way. That's it. Just gets a little bit more effort when you get local too. So, kind of went through all of that cycle myself many years ago.
Yeah.
So parking. Let's bring up parking before we talk about fitness a little bit. So parking always gets talked about like it's an infrastructure issue, and at the high level, people look at it from the government side. They look at it as how the truck stops are managing it, but really for you, it's more of a personal issue. I mean, it doesn't really matter what anybody does about it. It impacts you. It impacts everybody else on the road.
Sure.
So what does that do from a stress level standpoint on a daily basis when you're kind of winding your day down and you haven't quite figured out where you're going to sleep?
Well, it's been a lot less stressful here recently. So when it even becomes an idea that is going to be stressful, I use truckparkingclub.com. I get on there, 5,000 locations, just amazing growth. And there's a lot of great locations out there now. I mean, so just was it last week, or yeah, maybe or first of last week. I was in a really nice place in Wixom, Michigan, a trucking company that had some spaces available, and it was literally I could see the top of the silos of where I was delivering it to my customer. Nothing else around there anywhere near to park a truck. That's progress. And and then that comes down to personal choice. You can choose to stress about it and choose to go and drive around. And I still see guys doing this, guys and gals driving around, circling the parking lot, looking, hoping somebody leaves. Planning. Planning is the best way to eliminate stress from your day. And I don't really think at the end of the day, I don't think I've ever had a humongous problem myself parking because I've always planned. I've always planned my trips out. If I knew that I was going to have trouble to park in this area, I would stop a couple hours before and make sure I park. So to me, I just try to do things that remove the stress from my life. So for me, that's really been a big beneficial thing for me, and then it's even more beneficial when I can use it and park that close to the customer because that allows me to be more efficient for the week, set myself up better for delivery and all that stuff there.
So when you look at, obviously you're paying for those locations with Truck Parking Club. What goes through
Yeah.
your mind on that?
So it's just you're weighing out that benefit, right? It's the benefit of I will pay $20 absolutely to move my truck 2 hours closer or even an
Sure.
hour closer to the customer for that day. Because
Yeah.
that $20 could turn into an extra load getting in or putting me in a position for better, running for the week. And when you get down into day 6, day 7 on a week, and you can really look at those little hours and stuff and how they really benefited and moved the needle of where you needed to be at. So for me, that's really where it comes into is just this whole planning thing and being strategic about what I'm doing and being very thoughtful about where I'm placing my equipment. Just me and myself. So if I can get closer, I mean, save time and money.
Yeah, that's the first use case that I really kind of targeted with Truck Parking Club years ago. I met that crew probably 3+ years ago too.
Yeah.
Was just simply being able to target that you have that locked in parking spot for you a day ahead of time, knowing that when you start
Okay.
your morning that you're going to be able to put the 600 miles on and follow every compliance issue or every compliance item that you need to and maximize your hours of service. Whereas, if you don't have that, you're absolutely right. 2 hours before, guys are shopping for parking spaces these days. And that's something I never, unless I was in a major market like Atlanta or the Northeast, and even the Northeast was primarily New Jersey. I never really had to deal with that when I was driving. There was always and even at that case, you could find a road to park on and nobody cares. So, that's a big difference today than what it was 15, 20 years ago. So
Yeah. It's indicative of the economy, how much the economy's grown. Just in the last 20 years I've been on the road. But like I say, it's a personal choice a lot of drivers make whether to plan their day better or just run willy nilly. I mean, every morning I get up, I'm usually an early riser, 4 or 5 in the morning starting kind of guy, and I get out and like every exit ramp, entrance ramp has trucks parked on it. It's just absolutely astonishing to me because you don't sleep good. I'm telling you right now, you don't sleep good parked on an exit ramp. You just vehicles are
yeah,
buzzing by you all night long.
between the vehicles and I'm a princess, I need to be flat.
Yeah.
I can't deal with the roll. So
Yeah.
but yeah, absolutely. I mean, what goes through your mind is all the nastiness you've seen, guys plowing into the back of your truck, trucks, buses, whatever, all of that can happen. And that's what goes through everybody's mind. So who wants to do that?
Yeah. And then are you even covered? Is you're usually, if you're like parked somewhere like that, questionable or illegal or outside of a legal parking spot, there's a good chance you're not even going to be covered in an insurance
Yeah.
filing. So even if
And
it's not your fault on the accident.
even if you are, you still might be, your accident might be covered, but you're still going to be questioning whether or not you're going to have a role at your company. I mean, there's policies out there that people don't know about. So as an owner op, you're probably in a different boat there. But
Yeah.
ultimately, whether your insurance company covers it or not is one thing, but from a liability standpoint, you still may be targeted above and beyond that. So
Yeah.
you got to kind of watch that really, really closely. So, so fitness is something else that you've been kind of targeting too now. You were doing some videos on that for a little while.
Yeah.
I haven't
I need to
seen
do
those
more.
in a while.
There's golly, I'm the most inconsistent online poster ever. You have to understand, I never set out to create an audience or get followers or be a content creator. I am literally just bored at that point. I've got time, I have nothing better to do, and I express my creative side with a photo and maybe a little tell about my day. So
Sure.
yeah, fitness. I'm back on track. I'm down 15 pounds for the year,
Good.
so I can do it. Just got to stay consistent at it. I'm consistent in a lot of areas, but that's the one thing is just
Yeah.
getting out and moving and being intentional about it. I feel like I'm on the track this time though. I feel like this is going to be a different time.
Good.
We're gonna get down. Mike Lombard has me locked in for a Ironman event, and when I turn 50 years old, so I got 6 years. I got
Yeah.
6 years.
Wow. Yeah, Ironman's another level. I mean that requires a significant amount of running, and I don't know.
He says,
So
set your goals high. Set your
yeah,
goals
fair
high.
enough. I can
Yeah.
I can agree with that. So I on my side, I'm just trying to get to the gym 3 times a week or work out 3 times a week, and
It is hard
that's
hard to
hard.
do it. Like especially in a long day, like yesterday. I was just beat yesterday. I spent 2 hours in Nashville traffic. I mean,
Yeah,
it took 2 hours out of my day there. So, by the time I got done and delivered, I was pretty much done for the day. I just didn't want to do anything. But I got several walks in this week. I'm gonna get a walk in after this. I'm eating better, watching my calories, trying not to overeat. I do really well with mostly small snacks through the day, and one good meal. That seems to work out really well, and not creating issues where I over calorie that much. So it's a little bit of work. It's just one more thing you got to do on top of everything else. No big deal. Just
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah, the eating right, I think, is the biggest one. I mean, that's that above all things. I mean, obviously you should be moving, but if you don't eat right, and that's relative, right? I mean, obviously people who are very fit need to eat a particular way, but I mean, just making 2 out of 3 decisions the right way, or 4 out of 5 decisions the right way, as opposed to 4 out of 5 decisions the wrong way, has an impact on you. Not only on your the long term health, but how you feel that day. So
Yeah.
huge deal for every. I mean, once again, that's another area that I used to be at. When I drove, there was all kinds of places you could stop and have a decent meal. You could also pick the nuts a decent meal, but today I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're numerous, so they've all kind of gone away.
Well, if the thing is today we have Uber. We have
Right?
Uber Eats.
Fair enough.
So in a way, it's become kind of like, well, it's more costly, obviously, to go. Sometimes I debate whether it's cheaper to just Uber over to somewhere versus eating at the TA, but
Sure.
I think you're pretty on par there. But I mean, truck life on the road's changed. It's warped tremendously. The connectivity that drivers have with the world, I think things are a lot better. We don't, people don't use CB and stuff anymore or anything like that. But you know, never did get a whole lot of benefit out of that. Every now and then you'd hear a slow down call ahead, but if you just keep
Right.
your eyes open and pay attention, you'll usually figure out what's going on ahead.
My theory on why so many people, why trucking has embraced social media so well, is because we are the ones that use the CB. We are the ones that built out that, and then it's so easy for everybody to go to the other level, which is find your social media platform or a group of social media platforms and start talking with a bunch of drivers, and so we just moved off the CB to social media.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a lot of what's happened. Um, I still think truckers will talk to each other. They're a little bit more shy than they used to be, I feel like. I talked to a couple truckers last night, no problem. Couple of female truckers out here working, doing their thing. We're seeing more women in trucking, which I think is a good thing to see. I think it's still pretty good out here. It is what you make of it. Trucking is what you make of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we had Ingrid Brown on a couple weeks ago, so that was a great episode. If you didn't get a chance to watch that one, watch it. So it's the only episode only time this ever happened. But after the episode, and I got to still write this post, but after the episode, when you come off of the outro, everybody's in a green room, right? So, and everyone's sitting there crying. So good, a good cry, but it was
Well,
so watch that one if you get a chance. But
I always like telling Ingrid about when I used to run dedicated up around the Pittsburgh area. I used to go through Pittsburgh 4 times a day, and her billboard was out on US 22 when she had that thing with the I think it was with the National Highway Traffic or something like that, or maybe
I
FMCSA.
think it was that
And
funny.
I always see her up there smiling on
Yeah,
that billboard every day, a couple times a day. So I always like reminding her of that was a time in her life that she was on a billboard. She was a billboard girl.
right. Yeah, she deserved it. So that's you know, she should get another billboard.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
So you've built out this new presence online. So talking about CBs and the evolution of social media and how that goes. So all of a sudden you're texting me or you were messaging me and saying, "Man, this thing just went crazy in Japan."
Yeah.
So why do you think that happened?
I don't know. So I do know that. So this is over on Twitter X, a lot the dark side Freight X. Um, you know, I think that they opened up the translation where there's almost a perfect translation between different languages into English now.
Yeah.
And I just got on one day and everybody's talking about Japan. Well, what's up with the Japanese? And you can read it. And I was like, oh, wow, you really can. You can read what the Japanese are saying and you can talk to them. So I just, one night I threw up one post and there's a picture of Nashville from the old TA before they tore it down. It was a cool picture. And I said, good night, Japan, from America with love, something like that.
Yeah.
That one hit pretty good. And I started getting a lot of Japanese followers then. And then, over the next couple of days, I was posting things. I was getting quite a bit of traction. I mean, we're talking 30, 40, 50,000 views on these posts. That's big numbers. In my experience, that's good numbers.
Sure.
Well, then one day I was home and I was just feeling good about myself. I just got a new tattoo, and I just laid back and I seen this post and I reposted it. It said, why do Americans always wear shades? And I had my shades on and I put them on and I just took a snapshot of myself and posted, reposted, and replied and then said, because our future is so bright, we need shades. I had no idea that those were song lyrics, by the way.
Oh, really?
I did not know. I missed that one. But that post went in 24 hours, 7 million views.
Yeah, that's a
And
couple people. I think I did the statistics on that for you on like the percentage of population of
yeah.
So it was actually a percentage. So
So it's definitely, that was definitely my big hit. And my tractions has stayed up since then. I've got a modest bump in followers. I got monetized on the platform. We'll see what paycheck number 2 looks like tomorrow. It's it. I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, I was doing it for free before, so
sure.
we'll see how it goes. But I mean, the video didn't seem to do too good. Tried video for a bit, but the just text and posting. And I've noticed a lot of other accounts trying to mimic it and do it, and they're not having, for whatever reason, they're not having the same success rate that I am of growing that following. So I hit over there. I give them some free stickers to print out. Apparently, and according to that post, people have actually taken and printed out my likeness, and my likeness is on stuff from random places in Tokyo. It's great.
That's kind of
I kind of want to go there and prove this. Like I
Yeah.
want to visually see this.
Well, you keep getting 7 million views on posts, and you'll have a reason to go there.
I don't know if I don't know if I'll hit that again, but I feel like it's not too hard for me to get 100,000 views a day.
Even at 100,000 a day, man, that's 3 million a month. So
yeah.
That's a lot of views. So
Yeah.
A lot of views and the questions I've seen kind of float around are kind of cool too. So it's a little different. It's a different world compared. I mean, the Japanese trucking is completely different than the U.S. operations. I mean, there's really only a couple markets that act like the U.S.: Brazil, Australia. They're obviously Europe acts in some way, but it's a lot different. If I had to say what functions like U.S. trucking, Australia and Brazil are pretty much the only markets that do. I mean, and Mexico maybe. So Mexico's crazy. So you got to worry about just getting hijacked going down the road. So Brazil and Australia you don't. So
that might have been one of the craziest things of my year that I talked to a trucking company owner. I think she was from Ecuador.
Okay.
And she had trucks in Ecuador and Colombia. And getting robbed was a daily event. Hijacked.
Sure.
Gunpoint hijackings. Just blew my mind. The things that we don't think about as Americans, that are like normal for some of these other countries is amazing.
Yeah, everywhere else in the world, trucks come with door sensors
Yeah.
to know whether they're locked and whether or not they're open or they're shut. They come with door sensors, and those door sensors communicate through your telematics or ELD. In other countries, it's not necessarily an ELD. But almost everywhere else in the world, there's door sensors, and they're not for the trailer. They're for the doors on the truck to make sure that the drivers are safe and that there's not an unexpected opening. So
Yeah.
that's something that as a U.S. company, you don't really consider that as a problem. I mean, people are certainly security conscious, and you see a lot of drivers that'll run their seat belts through the door and whatnot. So they're certainly more conscious about it than I ever was as a driver, but it's nothing compared to anywhere else in the world. So
yeah. Well, I do like the mode of transportation that I currently do. I don't have to worry a whole lot about cargo theft or
right.
or anything like. Nobody wants dirt.
Yeah. Well, how you gonna fence or resell that? I mean, it's dirt or whatever you're hauling. Any sort of bulk powder is not gonna go over well with a black market. So
yeah.
So absolutely. So last question or two here. So what does obvious? I think that the general populace really has come around on their support for trucking. Numbers are like 70%, where before I think there were 50 or 40% in support of trucking and drivers. But what does so from the general community, not other drivers, what does real respect look like for a driver going down the road?
I just hope that somebody sees all the blinking lights. If I notice, and I know when people are paying attention, they'll slow down, they'll let me up, maybe they'll flash their lights, they'll give us space. Giving the truck space is like one of the best ways to just be respectful and mindful of the truck. Don't hover by the truck if you're driving down the road. If you're in a car, like even though that truck's been pre-tripped and is good, it's a truck and anything can break on any vehicle at any given time. Like a tire can blow out. Our roads are horrible. I almost feel like, well, I check the truck every time I'm out. I don't just pre-trip. I'm always looking at that truck. But things change so fast with the way the roads are these days. That's what I like. When I see people respecting trucks and giving us space and being safe, I think that's what real respect looks like, is having a respect for the road.
No, I appreciate that 100%. So get away from the trucks, respect the trucks. If you're passing a truck, get out of the way. That all of those things that makes a safer world. So I was just told that we have a 44-second clip that they dropped from our first episode. So I'm gonna play that, and then I got one other question for you, and we'll wrap this up. But
right.
Here's from 2003. 2023. What am I thinking about? Not 2000. that would be something else. So, but 2023. Good day, and welcome to the first episode of Driving Forward. We're going to see how this goes. I'm sure I'm going to make a ton of mistakes and learn.
I'm tech savvy enough to get on there and figure out what's going on, but there's a lot of younger guys in there than me. That it's kind of like a boost of energy to you. You're getting all these new ideas, and it's kind of an infectious, contagious thing that you just want to be a part of. And it's just a great place to be. The FreightX community on Twitter right now, or x.com, is probably, if you're not there and you're in logistics and transportation, you're missing out, because that's where the party's at. There's people there who are seriously doing business, but at the same time, we're not serious people. We're all just humans. And that's the big part, is just being a human, being a good person.
I think we both become better speakers.
That doesn't surprise me one bit. That first was my my opening where I need to re-record that sometime soon, but that was my opening recording from actually the spring of that year. And yeah, it makes me shake my head every time. So I need to re-record it's about a 15-minute chat about my history in the industry. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a minute ago. So I haven't had a haircut like that in a while either. So.
I cut my hair off. I let it get down to here, and then I just cut it all off. So
I've been running it longer lately, so for quite some time now. But I'm glad I am too, because I saw that haircut and I'm like, man, that doesn't work for me anymore. All right, final question: when you hang your hat up, when you're all done with the road, what do you hope people say about the man behind the wheel, the man that was behind the wheel, and not just about your work ethic?
yeah, I just hope people. I think people think I'm just a good person. I mean, that's the feedback I get. Is just you're a good guy. That's all I really care about is just being a good person. Um, I'm not like the world's best driver. I'm a good driver. I'm not the world's best. I don't have a whole lot of ego. I'm not really worried about a whole lot of things about that. I just hope that everybody says I was a good hand. At the end of the day, uh, the last 3 years have been a big journey for me, growing in the way I have, and seeing so many people, meeting and learning so much about the different angles of the industry and different sides of it. And I look forward to continue doing that because that is fun. Freight X is where the party is still at. I've met so many people from that community online and in real life now, and it's just great. And then just seeing what everybody's doing and how much everybody's grown. It's not just me; it's everybody has grown. And I like to think that the cohesiveness of networking and making friends and lifelong friendships is what I want to look back on my own personal legacy. For me, that's what is important is looking back and saying, I was able to have this experience that a lot of people don't get to have, and I think everybody should strive for that. It's having community is a hard thing to do as a trucker, but you should have some sort of community, some sort of connection.
That's wisely stated as usual. And I agree 100%. Community is not easy. You have to put effort into it. As you said, that everyone there has grown, or many people have, and it's been absolutely fun to watch it. So not and experience it, but watch it too. So I always like seeing people develop. But all right, hey man, that hour went by fast. I know you're
Yep.
in the shop. You got a truck you got to tend to also. But where can people find you if they want to reach out?
Well, today they can find me at Michigan MD Alignment in Allen, Michigan. Shameless plug. Indie Trucker everywhere. INDIE Trucker. And if
All
you're
right.
using truckparkingclub.com, use my code INDY20 to save $20.
Indy 20 to save $20. So
That's it.
enough. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on as always. Don't be a stranger. See you somewhere, sometime. So next time you're in Minnesota, maybe. So
Absolutely, my friend. Good talking to you.
absolutely. Look forward to it. Have a good day, man. All right. What Chris reminds us of today is that trucking's not about just freight. It's fuel, it's parking, it's policy, and it's absolutely the people and the sacrifice that they make in this industry. The sacrifice that they make to get product on the shelf so you can get your coffee, your bananas, your whatever. But it's much more than just the freight. It's all of that goes into moving the products around the country and the sacrifices our drivers are making for that. It's long nights, it's hard decisions, it's all the missed moments, and it carries a level of pressure that most of the world just doesn't really understand. The road can really toughen a person, but it also reveals who they really are. And when you listen to somebody like Chris, you're reminded that behind every load is a human, and a human being carried, or a human carrying far more than what's on their trailer. The reality of trucking is not built in reports. It's built on the road, 1 mile, one driver, and one story at a time. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Until next time, drive forward with purpose and innovation. Thanks for watching.